Welcome back to STARR, Startling Tales about Radical Responsibility. And today's tale is about the magic of holding space for a Gaian game world. So a game world that serves Gaia. I would also sometimes call it an arcane game world, or in more common terms, a regenerative game world. Which means that creates more life than consumes life. And if you look around most game worlds these days, so most places where human beings come to interact are consumerist game world. And game worlds can really, they're any place where human beings come to interact. So that's true for a corporate job, the post office, a government, but also having breakfast, a relationship, family, all of those are game worlds. And if you want to learn more about game worlds, there's a couple of websites that you'll see in the description or the comments below. But what I want to talk about is this possibility of, when you get a grip of what a game world is the possibility to build, source, and let's say run your own game world for the purpose that you choose. In this case would be a regenerative purpose or life-giving purpose. And what I notice how much magic, and when I say magic, is really refined skills, because magic is only one person's magic is only one person's technology. That does not come from me, it comes from Robert A. Heinlein. And so I want to talk about the skills that are behind this magic of holding space for people to come together for a different purpose than their own survival. So if you think about most game world today, what people get to do in these game world, whether it's a cafe, a shop, a corporation, a government, taxes, post office, shoe shop, telephone, being on the telephone, most of it has to do around money. But not just money, it could also be status or fame, or certain positionality, or certain, how do I survive? And so we've learned to engage with game worlds as, how does that game world going to help me survive? And so there's a whole other relationship to develop, for you as a space holder of a game world. When you want people to interact with your game world, how do you want them to interact in a way where they're not trying to consume the game world or trying to survive in the game world? Which also can look so differently for different people. Some people will want to be adaptive. Some people will want to come on top on first. Some people will want to know all the rules to try to be perfect. Some people will try to hide and then resent you. Some people will try to, okay, how does this method or skill or whatever you're offering, I can have that accreditation so that I can sell it. And again, it's this relationship of consumerism and survival. So there's this thing of how do you build an environment where people want to come together for something stronger than their own survival? Yes, it is possible. And also we have parts. So some people will be attracted to your game world because you're offering something that's beyond their own survival, but also beyond their own well-being. So it's people who are researching meaning in their life, or a higher purpose, or there's a job that I have to do, there's a service that I have to develop. Arcane game world, Gaian game worlds, they're about liberating that potential in yourself as the space holder, but you're holding space for others to liberate their potential to deliver their job, which we would call their non-material value, who they are in the world. So there is this part of them that's probably attracted to your game world, otherwise they wouldn't be talking to you. But people have parts, we have parts. And the parts of us that are survivalist part of manipulating, controlling, trying to be right, trying to have a position, trying to find the faults, trying to be perfect, trying to, the list goes on, trying to have war, trying to prove that we are failure, or trying to prove that we're the best, whatever, however the person's survival strategy is running, they will also show up in your game world. And so for me, the question is, how do you keep calling and invoking the part of the being that wants to play this bigger game, let's say the game of creation, in simple words. So how do you keep invoking that part, and how do you manage, it's not really managing it, it's how do you make use of the survival as stepping stone for evolution that will liberate even more of the potential. And one thing that I think is crucial in his arc in Gameworld, because they're non-hierarchical, they also centered the ones that I'm interested in, are centered in radical responsibility. This means, to some degree, is there's no victimhood. It's impossible to be blamed or to blame. It's impossible to be right or to be wrong. Like the right wrong is a survivalist. It's like a child level responsibility relationship to the world. So centered in this radical responsibility, how do you juice up people to be on a path that's contrary to everything that they've learned in school, everything that they've learned about what it is to be successful. And the force, I think, that is your best ally is chaos, is to use chaos as the fuel behind the machine, like behind the game world, that you don't get to control how people will show up. You don't get to control the potential of them that will come up. You don't get to control whether they will play the game the way that you're holding space for or not. But also the chaos part is the fuel of how your own game world is going to evolve in ways that you don't know, and will also put you as a space holder into a liquid state. And so this force of chaos is how do you invoke? So it's not just like let chaos come in, it's like that you hold space for chaos to happen without it degrading or opening the door, like letting the door open to the gremlin and the war. So that's not what I'm talking about in terms of chaos. The chaos is you cannot hold on to a positionality. So even as a space holder, you're not the king, you're not the queen. As a space holder, you are as much in a liquid state and facing your own challenges and evolution and potential. Even more so than the people who play in your game world, let's say the players of your game world. And so, like, I'm talking more, this was more like a general context about this, like what makes a regenerative game world attractive, like more attractive than having a ton of money for geniuses who could make a ton of money in modern culture. And there's a point where it's so meaningless. It's so empty to being first, to being right, to being the best, to being the fastest, to being the richest. It's like there's something so boring about that. And at the same time, I think as regenerative game world, we're still very much like researching how to make regeneration, creation, connection with Gaia, connection with archetypal forces, with the universe, attractive in a way that it doesn't collapse in emotional reactivity and in like all these projection of, you said there was no hierarchy, but somebody's still deciding. Okay, yes, there can be decision by one person without it being hierarchy. And it's like, how does that work? Well, there's tons of different systems that people have developed. For example, I use Taurus technology, which I recommend as a decision-making technology, where is the person who has pain, and that it doesn't mean suffering, but it has pain, they have anger, sadness, fear, and joy about an aspect of the game world that is missing for them, or that is lacking, or that wants to evolve. It's like, okay, you are responsible. You make proposal, and those proposals will be accepted or will be taken on by the game world only if you carry them through. So it's not like I have an idea, I have a proposal, and other people will make it that my proposal emerges. Is I'm taking a stand for this part of the culture to emerge. And so I was like, there's so many details that comes from, if you let your being as a space holder, if you let your being become bigger than your box, then these archetypal forces, these, like you're jacking into a source, will feed you information, will feed you nonlinear possibility, will tell you how to handle this person, this situation, this conflict, this unknown. They will give you all this information if you allow your being to become bigger than the grip of your box, like the grip of the idea of who you think you are or how you think your game world should go. But I still want to give you a few examples. Is, for example, developing a certain kind of guardianship, meaning this is the game we play here, this is not this game. If you want to play this game, we can train you to play a certain kind of game. If you don't want to be trained in this particular kind of game, this game is not for you. Very simple and very clear. But I've seen some people like shift out of guardianship into a thing we call nitpicking, which is everything that people, it seems like they're not playing according to like the set rigid rules of engagement of a game world. They will say, hey, you're not speaking with the right words, or hey, you're not writing in the right channel, or hey, are you really sure you want to ask for this feedback and coaching, or oh, I'm sensing there's this, you're having a different purpose. And the question are not oriented towards liberating the potential, but they're oriented towards, again, a certain kind of control. And that's when the survival like strategy that we've developed for so long can take over, when it's when the players, the people in the game world cannot handle the chaos. And so that's why a lot, like part of the training of holding space for a Gaian game world is training yourself and training your people to handle, to surf, and to enjoy chaos as a force of novelty, like as a force of evolution, really as a source of life, of allowing people to go crazy in a sense of like doing things that nobody else has done before. Like, can you allow your people to do that without you freaking out of, it's going to destroy my game world, or they're doing something that I don't understand? It's like, okay, your box does not understand. Can you still sense that their purpose is to be alive and flow power towards them? Like flow power of people in your game world to create things or to care about things that you don't see, and that it's not your job to care about them, but it's their job. Can you empower them? And I mean, I think like the magic is a lot about using this chaos, and also not when people who play in your game world don't, quote unquote, behave the way that you expect them to behave, or that you've already given them that feedback, or it's so clear that this is an emotional reactivity and they're not doing anything about it. If you get frustrated and you blame others of saying, hey, my game world doesn't work because people are not ready, or because people are not using the tools that I've given them, like whatever reason you come up of, I can't have this game world because they are, they're not awake enough, or they're not ready enough, or whatever the excuse that you find, it really is feedback for you of how are you not holding space for a culture where building these skills, being on each other's team, being guardian of a certain quality of context and aliveness and responsibility is not happening. And it's your job as a space holder to keep seeing, oh, people are tight, people are in conflict, people are not free because we're missing a part of the culture. So being a Gameworld space holder, and part of the magic of holding space for Gameworld is you being in this liquid state of whatever's happening in your Gameworld is feedback for you, is feedback for, hey, we need this part of the culture being developed. And that it is an adventure. And I think that's a big part of the magic, is to realize we're not trying to get anywhere. We're not trying to have it perfect or have it the biggest or have it, that the Gameworld as this impact or this position is, we're bringing people together to realize that there are certain part of the culture, human culture and regenerative culture, that we need to develop. And the parts that need developing are the ones that show up in the way that we relate to each other. And in that, in that discovery and in that practice, you're creating a value that is worth giving to the world. And that's the radiance of the Gameworld, shows up when what is being practiced within the Gameworld can be shared with people outside the Gameworld. And if there's this lie of, we're giving you this method and this technology and these techniques and these healing processes, but it's not happening within the people who are playing that game. So as space holders or coach or healers or village makers or community leaders, whatever Gameworld you're building, even if it's a bakery, if you're not practicing the tools that you're offering, there's a part of a lie and a discrepancy between what you're selling and who you're being. And that's part of the magic of ARC and Gameworld, is you are your own experimentation. You are your own territory of discovery and research that is very useful for other people.